Hello, my name's Wayne Holcomb. I'm a member of Rock Springs Baptist Church. I got saved when I was 40 years old. Even though I didn't go to church, I knew there was a God, a creator. I knew that God existed, that all this creation didn't just happen. I knew that there was a God and a creator. But I did go to, even though I didn't go to church, I did go to Bible school some, and I went to some church services, and I happened to be, and I'd heard the gospel, and I happened to be in a service when I was about 15 years old, revival service, and I went to the altar, and I don't remember very much about it. Just that I probably did what they asked me to do. I'm not sure, but I didn't get saved. And the next day, I'm standing outside in my driveway, and I say to myself, if I were saved, I would know that I was saved. So that was that. I didn't pretend to be saved. For people that asked me, I told them that I wasn't saved. I think it gave my family some comfort because they knew I'd been to the altar and I'd prayed. So anyway, I met my wife. She was a member of Rock Springs Baptist Church, and I was dating her, and we've been dating a few years, and I was going to school at North Georgia Technical School. And I was about to get out of there, about to graduate. And when I graduated, everybody was going in the military because Vietnam was going really strong right then, and everybody was being drafted. They either went to school or they were drafted. But, and I felt like that was what was next for us. So we decided we'd get married and plan our life together, live together a few months, or at least be together for a few months before I had to go. But it turned out I ended up in a draft lottery and drew a number, number 348, very high number, which means I wouldn't ever probably be drafted. So we went to work, we just went to work, and we did okay. And we had a house or two and bought a few new cars, and life was good. But then in 1980, we built a house, a new house, and we moved in it just before our son was born. And when he was born, we I said, and I think we said, we're living the dream. This is the American dream. New house, new car, new baby. Life couldn't be better. We had it all. But I really knew something was missing. I really knew that there had to be more. In any case, I was still driving a truck back then, and I was in Elkton, Maryland, sitting at a truck stop, and this gentleman came in and he sat down beside me, and well, when you're traveling alone, you sit at the bar or at counter, and if somebody else comes in and sits by, you got somebody to talk to. So that's kind of the way that works for truck drivers. And anyway, this gentleman came in and he sat down beside me. We said hello and a few things, and then he said to me, "There's got to be something that God did for you in your life, and only God could have done." And immediately, yes, I remembered when I was 8 years old, I was at a family's house, and I had to go with them. They're going to catch chickens out of their chicken houses, and I went with them, and to get me out of the way, they just kind of put me off to the side and told me to stay here and don't get in any trouble, basically. That's what they told me to do. In any case, I standing around there, and I decided I'd sit down. And I sat down there, and I looked up over me, and there's this big heater that's up above me. It's pretty big and pretty heavy, and they had it tied up with a rope. And I looked at that thing, and I saw that rope, and I said, wow, if that rope breaks, were to break, that thing kill me. And while I'm looking at it, I see that rope break. And I got out from under it, of course. I didn't really get out from under it, but I didn't get hurt. God got me out from under it. I felt like this was a miracle. And I always did know that it was a miracle. So, you know, I would not have even thought of that had he not mentioned that to me. And I think the Lord sent him out there to remind me of that, so that I could come to the realization there was a supernatural God out there, and he cared about me. He'd saved me then, he'd saved me now. So, but you know, time went on. I didn't get saved. This was in the early 80s, and I still didn't get saved. Charles Stanley was preaching one time, and I saw him on TV, and he spoke to my heart. He explained the gospel to me that touched my heart. And I knew at that time Jesus died for me. And I'd like to say that I bowed and I got saved right there, but I didn't. I thought I had to go to Rock Springs Baptist Church and get in the altar. I thought the way you got saved is you had to go and bow in the altar. But I know now you can be saved anywhere, anytime. Just call on the Lord and repent and believe. Didn't get saved. I went to Rock Springs one time in 1990, and I was there. I even wanted to be saved. I knew I needed to be saved, and whether I wanted to be or not, I knew that I needed to it. And I'd like to say that I went down and got saved. I didn't. I still sat right there on that bench, and I didn't go down. But that next week of my life was one of the hardest weeks of my life, probably the hardest week in my life, because I was under great distress and a heavy burden of sin. I know it was sin now. I really thought I was going to die. And I didn't tell my wife. I didn't talk to anybody about it. I just knew that I had to go back. I had to get back to Rock Springs. I had to get in that altar, and I had to be saved. I knew my only hope was there. And so I still was carrying this around all by myself, not discussing it with my wife at all. And so I go back to Rock Springs. I get back to there, and they preach, and they tell me about Jesus. And when they finally get to the time to let you come down and ask to be saved, I looked at my wife and I said, will you go down there with me? And she said, yes. So I went down to the altar, and I don't know what I said to God. I don't know. But I know when I got up from there, that burden was gone. I had peace. All that grief and suffering and anguish that I was going through had passed. And I knew that I got saved. I experienced love in a powerful, powerful way I can't explain. And I just know that I got saved that day. And I again went back out later after I got, later in the week I went outside to look around to see about just soul searching a little bit, and I looked up at the sky and I said, wow, that sky is so beautiful and so blue. I believe it is bluer, and I think the grass is greener since I got saved. life's been a lot better. We've been in church, me and my wife now, since we're 70 now. It's been 30 years, and God has been good to us. We've seen things happen. We've seen family members get back in church, and family members saved, and we've seen things change in our lives. So that's my story. Thank you very much.